If you saw the Game Awards, you might have noticed a title called Space Marine 2 that dazzled with cool effects, set pieces, and hordes of enemies. But wait a second, 2? So that means there was a Space Marine 1, right? Right you are. Released on September 6, 2011, published by THQ and developed by Relic Games, Warhammer 40k Space Marine attempted to bring everyone's favorite space soldiers to the forefront with a third-person action game. Did they succeed? Or is this game nothing but another entry in the long line of bad Warhammer games? My name's Yuo, and there's only one way to find out. Warning, there will be spoilers ahead. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Couple of things before we talk about the core experience. This retrospective was done with the PC copy of Warhammer 40k Space Marine Anniversary Edition, which is published by Sega instead of THQ. I will now be referring to the game as Space Marine from this point forward. I was not interested in the multiplayer side of the game, but I still tried to queue one up for the video. After 2 minutes I gave up. You can still play online, but depending on time zones, we'll probably have more success through Discord or by queuing for very specific modes. I did not run into any game-breaking bugs or crashes during my playthrough, just the occasional execution desync. Now onto the core experience. What is Space Marine? It's a third-person action game. No RPG here. The only choice the player has is on changing weapons at ammo dumps. Also, when I say action, I mean action. There is not one puzzle in this game. It is quite literally only 4 things. Fighting, walking to fighting, waiting in elevators for fighting, and cutscenes, so that's it. That's the entire experience. So if that's it, surely the fighting is excellent, right? A quick caveat. I played this game on hard, which is the hardest difficulty offered. I do not believe the game was balanced around hard at all, so I'm sure the melee criticisms I have won't apply to easy or normal. Combat is either ranged or melee, but on hard I rarely went melee unless I had to. Like a lot of melee action games, this has slow-mo executions that give you health back. Unlike a lot of other action games, here during the animation lock you are not invulnerable. While the damage on lower difficulties probably trivializes this, on hard I found going for an execution leaves you with less HP than what you started with, or straight up dead. Executes do look cool, but unfortunately each melee weapon only has a couple of animations per enemy. Ranged combat is fun, you have a handful of weapons to use, and it's enjoyable to murder hordes of orcs with machine guns, snipers, grenade launchers, etc. Speaking of orcs, they are the main baddies for half the game, then get cycled out completely during the last third and replaced entirely with chaos. Enemy diversity between the two is pretty similar, though there is a flavor difference, like the orc weird boys summoning lightning while the chaos psyker shoots a beam of lightning. Or instead of weak groups of melee orcs and runts, you have weak groups of evil guardsmen. But then you get stuff like the elite melee units. They act very similar, except the chaos ones are tougher to kill. The orc side of the game is more enjoyable than the chaos side. The plot, while not being anything to write home about, at least gets us from point A to point B decent. Once chaos gets involved, the plot gets bad. Real bad. Wow, this dude looks like he's corrupted. I'm sure we can trust him. Whoops, guess not. I have held on to this MacGuffin all game. Let me now hand it to my squad member so we can take care of it. Less than 3 minutes later, wow. The orc fights were more fun. While they still did high damage, they were also easier to kill. Then you get the chaos. These guys are not only way tankier, they also do way more damage. I thought this fight was over, so I started getting a drink with one hand. Oh, he one-shot me. Whoops. The best thing about the chaos fights is that the bloodletters look cool. Otherwise, it is a definite downgrade from the first 3/4 of the game. Let's look at all the weird decisions or oversights that were made in the creation of this game. Having to hit enter on a new weapon prompt when normal key bindings don't place fingers near there. The game even has an interact key, the letter E. Of course, that does nothing here. Can't even click continue. Slow-mo executions in a game with a melee focus that grant no invulnerability frames, leaving you wide open to damage. You picked up a gun and spammed enter, thinking it's like other guns, not noticing this one has a special mechanic. Surely combat controls will show the info, right? Nope. Here are the combos for all the melee weapons in the game, even ones you haven't found yet. no gun mechanics for you. Outside of the IP and aesthetic, the only reason to play this game is for fighting hordes of orcs or demons. So why on earth did the devs make a section where you run around killing turrets? Outside of, spoiler alert, the final boss, this is the worst section in the game. Boring, unfun, tedious garbage. Its only saving grace is that it's short. The jetpack sections are not very interesting. Just jump up, ground pound, rinse and repeat until your character says for gameplay reasons. But the worst thing about this game is the boss fights, in particular, the final one. The game has built up to this. You even get this cool shot leading up to it. Surely the game delivers here, right? That's a good one. No, the game spits in your face and has a giggle at your expense. All this build up just to fight X amount of waves of unfun enemies. Well, surely the actual fight with the boss is good, right? It's not. It reminds me a lot of the final boss of Devil May Cry 1, except that one was kinda interesting. Here, it's just bad. Fly towards him and play this minigame of punching and dodging, use Rage Meter to damage him, do this 3 times, good job, you beat the game. That's it. There's nothing else here. Easily one of the worst final boss fights I have played. Now I've been dunking on this game for the entire review, so I must be recommending people to not buy this game, right? Well, yes and no. It's currently on sale at Steam for $17.25 Canadian. If you enjoy the Warhammer universe at all, it's worth the price of admission for the spectacle alone. If you want a brain-dead action game that just moves from place to place killing hordes of enemies, give it a try. Otherwise, stay away. Boss fights are not good at all. The combat, while it can be fun, is nothing to write home about. Even for an action game, the plot is not very good. It's pretty short, although for some that is a positive. I kept the game on for 30 minutes while I went to the store. It still only took me 7.2 hours to finish it on the hardest difficulty. Playing on easy or normal, you could probably take that number down to 5 hours. So what does that mean for Space Marine 2? Fortunately, not much. While you can very clearly see inspirations taken from the original game, this game has both a new publisher and developer. Hopefully, they can take the original game's potential and turn it into something great. Yuo here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. I am excited about Space Marine 2, but I will be waiting for reviews before making a purchase. If you want to play some games that are both good games in general and good Warhammer games, try the original Dawn of War series, Dawn of War 2, the Total War Warhammer trilogy, or Vermintide 2. Those games cover different genres, and both fantasy and 40k, so I'm sure there is something that you will enjoy. That's all for me. Hope to see you next time. Yuo out.